This is season 2, episode 8, Ashy Slashy. In 3, 2, 1, play.
Stars. That's true. Slasher Fred, Bruce Campbell, and Sam Raimi are not lifelong friends, but like they meet like in high school, right?
Yes.
And even though Sam Raimi has tortured this man many times for our
It's his
entertainment, he
favorite
always comes
activity.
back. Yeah, Campbell has cameos or appearances in most Raimi movies. There might be a couple
The notable
that
one
he
that I
doesn't
know
show.
of anyway is he is not in Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Have you seen that?
I have. It's a fun movie.
Yeah. Its biggest problem is some really unfortunate CGI.
Yeah. It helps that it's more cartoony, over the top movie.
No, it does, but the problem is that some of it looks bad. If you had 5 desert island horror films, what would they be? They don't have to be the best, just ones that you can rewatch over and over again.
That's hard because 3 of those are Evil Dead movies.
Evil Dead 2, Dawn of the Dead, Jason X, Army of Darkness, 1978's Dawn of the Dead. And for variety, I'll go Nightmare 3.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I could just take like the Evil Dead trilogy and then throw on a couple more, but
Yeah, for me, it's Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. For sure. It's tough because you have to separate like your favorite horror movies from ones that have more rewatchability. Like, I probably wouldn't have Exorcist on there, even though that's one of my
no,
favorites.
you got to no. What you do is you take Exorcist 3 because it's the quotable
I,
one.
I would
It
I
is
would
not
probably
in the 5.
have Exorcist 3. Oh, you know what you forgot that I'm having on my list?
What's up?
The Thing.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I
The
love
Thing's
The
a big
Thing.
one.
It's really watchable. I think everything I listed is more watchable to me. Or I can watch it over and over again.
Yeah, if I had to pick one Friday movie, I'm probably going with Part 4.
We have a tie, by the way, on our poll between 5 and Jason X.
Oh, I know which one you're rooting for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you posted that yet. So for anybody watching, we have a poll up for which Friday the 13th movie we should do a commentary on next week. Because next week is another Friday the 13th. So
To
it's
be fair to you,
between.
I forgot until you said something about Friday the 13th. I was like, oh yeah, I posted that.
So if you're watching this, go vote. The options are Part 5, Part 7, Part 8, and Jason X.
Jason dies tonight. I also appreciate that they don't take the time to build up where these 20-something-year-olds got military SMGs. Tyler voted for Jason X. Peak.
Oh my god. Linda's daughter is a deadite. That's one of those choices this season I do question is we do end up killing Linda's daughter, and we don't have a lot of time to dwell on it. Like, we honestly, like, Linda's a character we could have killed off since she doesn't come back next season.
Yeah, but I do also kind of love that she just is never mentioned, doesn't exist. I forget, does she kill the sheriff?
Yeah,
I
I'm
do
pretty sure he
appreciate
dies.
this series' commitment to not giving a fuck about how possession works.
Yeah, there are
How
so
do
many
you get
situations.
possessed by a deadite? Yes.
Well, it's because the Deadites know that if you're Pablo or Kelly, you have plot armor and can't be possessed.
At least Pablo makes some sense. He's connected to the book somehow.
That's true.
Ash is the chosen one. That's fine.
Yeah. And Slasher Fred, we have watched the show before. This isn't a first time watch, but
You
yeah,
ruined
the
this
ending.
entire show for me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you was just say that the ending of the show is kind of an homage to the original plan for Army of
Army of
Darkness, but it
Darkness.
gives a more positive spin on it.
Yeah, they should
Oh
have had
wait,
Bruce Campbell go, I slept too long.
one of your cuts on your 4K you have does have that ending, right?
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think so.
I've never seen the other ads. Oh my
I
god!
would have to double check, but Scream Factory's pretty good about that because they put out the a Blu-ray too that had 3 or 4 cuts of the movie.
Mhm. Yeah, Army of Darkness and the original Dawn of the Dead are like the big ones where there's like 4 cuts of that movie for some reason.
Yeah, at least with Evil Dead, with Army of Darkness, I could see why. Uh, Dawn of the Dead, the extended cut, really all it does is just ruin that movie's pacing. I could see why Romero made the cuts he did. However, the European cut by Argento is fascinating because it cuts out a lot of the humor and focuses more on the gore. So it's like, what if Dawn of the Dead was like Day of the Dead? Plus, you get extra Goblin music, and I fucking love Goblin's score for that movie. But the best cut is just the theatrical Romero vision.
Some of the inconsistency I like too. Sometimes Deadites are just bullet sponges, and then here it just gets shredded after Kelly shoots it. Well, and his daughter's dead now.
Peak.
That's a good Kelly scene. I'm sorry your father sucked. He's dead. Now you're dead. This whole thing sucks. She's
Yay
so
me!
desensitized by this point.
Just give a fuck. No, if if we have to keep making Evil Dead movies, make it about her. I would watch a movie with her as the protagonist.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see them bring Kelly back.
Since
And
apparently we're never gonna bring Mia back, cause fuck it.
yeah, uh, if they ever get that animated show off the ground, that's definitely something where I want Ash to be the main character. Bruce Campbell can just voice it. That'd be a lot of fun. If you ever put him in a movie again, if you ever agree to that, I'm fine with Ash just being a supporting character. Whether it's a returning protagonist or a new protagonist, I'd be cool with seeing Ash as a side character in one of the new movies.
The only way I
Just
will
give him a couple
accept that is
scenes.
if the entire joke is that the new character sucks and everybody wants to see Ash, but he doesn't want to do it anymore and he tells them to go fuck themselves. Because the problem with that, Robert, is you run into that soft reboot thing. Creed has this really bad, at least to me, where I don't give a fuck about the new character. I just want to see the old character, whether it be Ash or Rocky.
No, Creed is one I think pulls it off.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I had that same issue where it's like, oh, I just want to see Rocky. I don't care about Creed. Creed 2 was better though, I think.
Yeah, both good movies.
But I liked 3 well enough.
Creed, yeah, it's fine. Creed 2 is like a better Rocky 4 sequel than it has any right to be. That movie shouldn't be as good as it is.
I know, right? But I'm glad Coogler finally got to make something like completely original with Sinners because it's peak.
Sinners is great.
That might be my favorite Coogler movie at this point. Because I think Black Panther 1 is okay and 2 ugh.
I do love Pablo's fish and chips dream.
I love the pun if you think about it, because chips are also an electronic.
Yeah, it's great. Are you surprised we haven't gotten more like new Evil Dead comics? Do you know who'd even have the license for that at this point?
It's so weird because like Dynamite had them for a while, but I think it was specifically Army of Darkness,
Hmm.
and they were pumping those bad boys out like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, we got
Um,
lots of Army of Darkness comics back in the day.
I don't know who owns the actual Evil Dead comic. Because like the only one, because I did a review on it, but there is a comic adaptation of the first movie that is really good until it's not. Because that tries to explain the differences in Evil Dead 1 and 2, as Evil Dead 1 is all a dream that he has before he gets to the cabin for Evil Dead 2. So he dreams exactly what is going to happen while also inventing a sister, a best friend, and best friend's girlfriend.
That reminds me of that '90s Halloween comic that tries to bridge the gap between Halloween 6 and H2O in an attempt to make H2O canon.
Jesus. I mean, what are they talking about? H2O is canon.
No, I mean like with the previous movies with
Oh, yeah,
4 through
yeah.
6.
No, but because I was
Spoiler
reading,
alert,
I'm
it
like,
doesn't
oh,
work.
this is kind of cool. Like they do flesh out a couple things with like Ash and Cheryl, and then you get to the end, it's like, oh no, this was a mistake.
No, if you got the right artist on it, you could do a really cool comic adaptation of that material that doesn't have, some of the same production issues
I
that the
do
movie
know there's a
has. Like you
comic
could improve
because
on it.
Amazon keeps pushing it to me about what's her name, the main girl from 2 that dies like at the very end. There's a comic about her in
Oh,
hell
okay.
after
Oh,
2.
weird.
Yeah,
Is it Annie? Annie
Annie.
Nobi?
Yeah, Annie, are you okay? Uh, Tyler, would you be interested in an Elseworld style Evil Dead where Ash gets back from Army of Darkness and the world is in complete ruins? I mean, yeah, that was the
That
original.
that's that was the
That's the
original idea.
original Army of Darkness ending.
That
Well,
that's
because
something you could do in a comic.
that game that I want to play for the channel with Ted Raimi is a what if where he never gets sent back in time, and they
Hmm.
find him up at the cabin with a bloody chainsaw and a bunch of pieces, so they throw him in an insane asylum.
Hmm. Yeah, and I know this isn't looking at that material, but it is cool that you get kind
Yeah.
of a version of that in this show.
Oh, I'm sure Sam knows about this because Ted was in it,
That's true.
and Bruce, because that's the other thing that's really impressive. Bruce does all of the games.
Hmm. I think there's like one random video game somewhere where somebody else voices Ash. I've never looked
Maybe,
at it.
but it's not an Evil Dead game because they only made 3 of them.
Hmm.
Well, 4 if you count the new one. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, it might be that first one that was like on the Dreamcast. That's like a Resident Evil clone. Because I don't
Hmm.
know if there's a lot of voice acting in that. I
And
believe you can get this costume in either Dead by Daylight or the game.
the game has the skin. This is one of the skins they add later, but it's
Yeah,
such a cool look. I
it
love this look
is.
for Ash in the torn up straight jacket. He looks awesome.
Slasher Fred. There's a music video called Blood Red Sandman by a singer called Lord. Isn't that a pop singer? Which pays
I do
homage
not
to
know.
the original movie. Because I think Lord is the one that does that really annoying Royal song. You know what I'm talking about?
Not off the top of my head.
I fucking love this scene.
This scene's amazing. Kelly arguing with Ashy Slashy hand puppet. It's so good.
Uh, but the cool thing with the old video games is they all take advantage of the fact that you have basically just a hand that can be attached to anything. So like you get a spear gun, you get an upgraded chainsaw. I think one of the games gives him a fucking minigun.
You know what I love about this scene? It's very Evil Dead 2. Our protagonist
Is
has a
going
possessed thing
insane.
on their head, and it is beating the shit out of themselves without feeling like too much of just a repeat. You know, it's enough of its own thing while having similar
Okay,
comedy.
Tyler says yes, that is Lord. Yeah, it's that song. We could be
Fair enough.
Royals. You know the difference between the different cuts of Army of Darkness and which one is your favorite? I mean, my favorite is just the theatrical. Like
Yeah,
the
but
if I could get the theatrical cut with the original ending, that would be the best version. But the only cut that has the original ending is the extended one, and specifically the extended one, from what I remember, it's been a minute, has a different version of the windmill scene that is not as good.
I've heard it goes on way too long.
Yes, it really fucking
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about both Army of Darkness and the original Dawn of the Dead is they have multiple cuts, but the most seen versions are the theatrical cut and seem to be the most popular. Neither film is like, oh, there's this other cut that's way better. That's the definitive version. You need to watch it. They're more like oddities. You know, it's cool that they exist so that we have them, but they don't generally seem to be people's preferred versions.
Well, and
But
what's
I mean, I need to
interesting,
watch them for
the
myself.
key difference though is Romero has said like the theatrical cut of Dawn of the Dead is his director's cut. That's why
Mhm.
the extended cut of Dawn of the Dead is specifically extended. It's everything thrown back in. And then you have a different cut which is made for overseas, which cuts down on the humor and ramps up the violence, which is interesting. But I watching it, I realized, oh, Dawn of the Dead without the humor is kind of boring. Whereas I with Army of Darkness there is a definitive cut
Mhm.
to be made there. They're all
I just know.
dead.
Yeah. Sorry, Linda. Without skipping a beat, Kelly's like, "Nope, haven't seen her.
She knows.
Now is not the time for this." I just noticed you forgot to put up the counter for this
I
episode,
did.
the
And
timer. It's fine. They're short
it's too late
episodes.
now.
This will be done in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, see, like Ruby being surviving could have created a new dynamic for the group going forward. Instead, they're like, "Fuck it." Slasher Fred, the original movie was such a cult movie that Wes Craven had used it in A Nightmare on Elm Street during the scene in which she tries to stay. That is
That's true.
mostly correct. but that is not why Evil Dead is in that. I don't know if you know about this. So in the hill, I think it's in The Hills Have Eyes. There's a like Jaws poster that's like torn, and that's supposed to
Mhm.
be a reference or something. So Sam Raimi, in response, has a torn up Hills Have Eyes poster in Evil Dead saying, "No, my movie is scarier." So then Wes Craven put Evil Dead in Nightmare on Elm Street and has Nancy struggling to stay awake for it, saying, "Oh, your movie's boring." So Sam Raimi then put the Freddy glove in Evil Dead 2,
Yep.
but I don't know what he was saying with that because it's just there. And I don't know if
It's
it
a little Easter
continued
egg.
past that, but there is no Wes Craven in Army of Darkness from what I remember.
Yeah, is there any Evil Dead reference in Scream?
No,
Because I don't think
because
there is.
that's very
It's all
specific like
slasher stuff. Yeah.
slashers.
Although it's funny though, with some of the Evil Dead footage being in Nightmare on Elm Street, I know that's like the first place a lot of people ever even see footage from that movie.
Yeah,
Because the
and
one
then
everyone sees is Evil Dead 2.
yeah, and Evil Dead is also in Donnie Darko.
Oh, cool.
They go to see it in the theater, and a wormhole opens up in the middle of the screen. Don't worry, I can't spoil that movie. I wouldn't know how to begin. One thing I will give this actress for more than a lot of those like TV character actresses is she is versatile. I do buy her as just like a suburban mom, but I've also seen
Mhm.
her in shows like The Blind Spot, where it's like, yeah, I could buy that she's kind of a badass.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't keep her for season 3. I wonder if she was just busy or
She was
unavailable.
doing the hit show Picard. I
Oh.
don't actually know if Picard was filming at that point. My question is, where did he get that outfit?
Yes. No, it is fun that pretty much every season we do get to see Bruce Campbell play like a new take on Evil Ash. Ever since Evil Dead 2, like there's always an Evil Ash we have to deal with. That's kind of fun.
So Evil Dead 2.
Well, yeah, because he gets possessed during that. You,
Oh
you get
yeah.
Dead-Eyed Ash.
And I like this because, like, yeah, Ash is an idiot, but he's also really smart when it comes to, fighting monsters. But he's also an idiot because he didn't tell anyone what he was doing.
It's like, yeah, Linda lost her husband and daughter, but she'll be fine. And I like that we pay off Ash's stupid tracker plan. Like it actually works.
The one time he's ran out of ammo.
Also, props to Ray as Pablo here. He got pretty jacked this season. Like he was like, "Look, I'm gonna be shirtless a lot. I want to get in like really good shape, like way
Do
better
you
shape than Pablo should be in."
do you remember when they were like teenagers working at a convenience store, like at a S Mart?
a lot's happened since then.
Well, it's funny because this has the kind of the Smallville thing where it's like, I think you were supposed to be in high school last season, and now, nope, you're just
You're,
adults.
you're all 30.
Well, and it shocked me too because the actress that plays Kelly is like mid 40s now.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I was like,
Yeah, no,
oh,
it's weird to think that.
that's how like desensitized I am. I bought you as like a 20-year-old for 3 seasons of a television show.
Yeah, and this show started like 10 years ago. I can't believe it's
Shut
been
up.
that long.
No, it didn't. Started yesterday.
First time I watched this, this was such a bummer. Like
This is
this was
a great
heartbreaking.
cliffhanger. He really fell to pieces.
Oh,
Long before he directed the original Spider-Man trilogy, says Slasher Fred. Sam Raimi had directed the cult dark superhero movie Darkman. That's a mouthful. And of course, Bruce Campbell has a cameo at the very end. That is correct.
yeah.
That is a
Bruce
thing
Campbell,
that happened.
I know he
Uh,
almost was Darkman for like the whole movie.
he
That would have been
that's
interesting.
who Raimi wanted. The studio said no for some reason and wanted Liam Neeson of all people.
I don't know if they wanted Liam Neeson or if they just said no to Campbell, but it's funny because Liam Neeson wasn't like a big name yet.
So
Uh,
I'm like 90% sure. Okay, no, sorry. I am quoting Jay from Red Letter Media on that, so I'm as sure as he is sure. So take it with what you will. But that he said that Neeson was a studio choice. That
yeah,
is going to be
weird.
it
I
for
mean,
our commentary on season 2, episode 8. Thanks for watching.